Hi, I'm Brent Johnson, and today I'm at Christ Episcopal Church in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. With me is Steve Taranto, the organist and assistant director of music here. Steve, how long have you been organist here at Christ Episcopal?
I started at Christ Episcopal in July of 2019, so I'm in my third year.
Okay, third year. So this organ was fairly new, though, when you arrived, right?
Yes, it was installed in they finished the installation of the main organ here in 2018, and then they added the Antiphonal in 2020.
Yeah, just finished that. So we're up here in the chancel. We've got most of the organs up here, and then we do have an Antiphonal over the back door. So I'm interested to hear it. This is Letourneau, built in Canada. So this is the first one of these we've been able to feature on the channel.
Wow.
So I'm really excited to get to show it off to everybody. So I just want to start with that. First of all, how many ranks did we thought?
38.
38, okay. So let's just start over there in the grate. That's all right here out in front of us.
So this is the open diapason 8-foot. And the principal chorus on the grate really is kind of the backbone for him playing. So we'll just play a few hymn phrases. The 4-foot. Foot 15. Mixture.
It's got a very bright and present sound. It's all right here in the front of the.
Right.
In fact, the 8-foot principal's in the facade, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So it really speaks right into the room. Has an immediacy out here. Very good. All right. And then we have a few other stops here in the grate. What else do we have?
Yes. There are no other. Well, there's only one more independent stop in the grate, and that's the chimney flute.
Bright chipper little flute there. Yeah. Very nice. Okay, yeah, the other stops are then borrowed.
And then all the other stops are borrowed
from the division. So let's go on over then. We have it's called choir solo, but it functions as a normal choir division in couples normally. Tell me about, let's start with the Geigen there as probably our foundation.
So the Geigen is pretty much the foundation tone of the choir division. Paired with the Undamaris makes a very nice celeste.
Definitely more string tone there than diapason. Yes. So, and of course that can be closed down
correct.
In that box. Show me how quiet that was. So yeah, that really closes down well. All right, so I assume the Geigen then sort of functions as a diapason as well.
Yeah, if you use the Geigen coupled to the grate, both at 8 and 4 with the chimney flute, it actually can serve as a secondary 4-foot principal tone.
Does it, if you do just the 4-foot, the Geigen at 4-foot, does it stand up against the 8-foot open diapason in the grate, or is that too big?
It's probably too big.
But
we can try it.
Like,
It could work too.
So it's an option, yeah. All right, so from there, where do we go?
So on the choir, then the next would be the family of flute stops, the flute harmonique. It's very bright in the upper range and obviously very mellow tone in the lower bass range.
And then a 4-foot flute as well to go with that?
Yes. That's the 8-foot flute harmonique and 4-foot flute octaviant.
Okay, and then there's one more.
And then the octavin, yes.
Very nice, yeah, very nice, clear little ensemble.
And the combination of 8 and 2 makes a very lovely sound.
Bright with all those harmonic sounds in there. One thing we didn't mention is that the Geigen actually goes down to 16.
Yes.
Hear that all the way down there.
Okay. And that stop is duplex, so it's just an addition to the 8-foot Geigen.
Okay, yeah, so it just continues. Big warm sound.
Yeah.
All right, and we have some reeds in this division.
Yes, so the clarinet, which makes a really great solo stop, a nice color stop. Shall I play that against maybe the 8 and 4
Show me
foot?
how you might use that.
So that goes well either with the strings on the swell or the 8 and 4 foot on the swell. We'll do the 8 and 4 foot first, and I'll put some pedal on to balance. So works well with the strings, the viol da gamba and the voix celeste.
It's a nice clarinet sound. It's got a lot of brightness though to cut through.
Sure, and
sings.
it warms up a little bit too when you add the tremolo as well. Just use the 8-foot Lieblich against that.
Lovely. Okay, what else we have?
And then there are 2 more reeds. The next lighter solo reed is the French horn. It only goes from tenor C to F, so just in the mid-range of the keyboard. This obviously is nice with the swell strings as well.
Darker sound, but it still manages to cut through.
Right.
All right.
And then last, but certainly not least, the big tuba. Stable enough to, where you can play full chords on it, as well as just solo melodies for trumpet tunes. So.
Yeah, it's not a overpoweringly large tuba, but it's definitely cuts through.
Sure.
Certainly wake everybody up for a hymn if you want to do that for an intro.
Exactly.
And then there's also some percussion stops. In this
so
this is interesting.
So Letourneau has graced pretty much all the divisions with, well, no, I shouldn't say all, but at least 2 of the divisions. But with the coupling devices, you can get almost the effect stops to almost any place you want them. But the first is the Glockenspiel. And then a nice harp. And then chimes.
And are all of those enclosed as well with the rest of the
yes,
choir?
that is that. Yeah, since they're in the choir, they are affected by the shade.
It's actually not often you see chimes inside an expression box, so it's
Right.
nice to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And one other thing on the grate we didn't talk about, just as we're going across, so you do have a manual transfer knob,
Right.
so you can switch the grate and choir for more French things. Before we come over here, though, I want to stay on that side and talk about the antiphonal division.
Okay, so the antiphonal division is fairly new. I said 2020, but it may have been 2021 when it was completely voiced and installed in voice. But we had an antiphonal division in the previous organ, but the problem was it didn't really hold its tune very well because it was really butt up against the back wall that got a lot of sun, and so every time the wall would heat up, it would affect the temperature of that, and it wasn't even a chamber, it was just pipes on a wind chest, and so it wasn't enclosed. And so in this new antiphonal division, they actually did, they wanted to make a space between the back wall and the back of its chamber, but there are 5 stops in that division, and it's most useful for hymn singing. It just helps to get some sound in that part of the room. And it's actually an interesting sonic phenomenon that even when you have full organ on in the front, even if you use 1 or 2 stops in the antiphonal division, it really kind of helps bring the sound more into the room, that you really feel like the sound is being drawn to you.
Just by the addition of a few.
Yeah, just by a few. But it, as its own division, is quite nice, mainly because it speaks on the main axis of the room, so its sound can really just kind of develop and blossom right in
just those 5 ranks.
Yeah.
A lot. Well, what 5 ranks do we have?
So we have a diapason 8-foot.
And let's see, how do we make it play?
So yeah, so it is a floating division. Okay. So again, through a lot of coupling choices, you can get it to the grate. You can get it to at 16, 8, and 4. You can get it to the swell at 16, 8, and 4. You can get it to the choir at 16, 8, and 4.
So you put it anywhere.
Yep, and then you can also bring the antiphonal to pedal at 8 and 4.
That's handy.
So, okay, so this is the 8-foot diapason from the antiphonal coupled to the choir.
It's a big, warm sound, and definitely speaking right to me. Yeah. I'm just curious, though, we're here in front of these principles. I want to hear the open diapason on the grate and just compare the quality of those 2 stops.
So this is now the open diapason on the grate, and then echoed by the 8-foot diapason in the antiphonal.
Definitely a brighter edgier sound. I assume that might be necessary to get around the corner.
Sure.
But that's, yeah, it's still a really full, warm sound coming out of the back. Very good. All right, what else do we have there?
So we also have an 8-foot or a 4-foot principal as its counterpart, which makes a nice little ensemble.
That brightens it up a bit. And I assume you could use the super coupler and bring that up to create a 2-foot on the choir there.
Yeah.
Big sound out of just 2 ranks.
Yep.
All right. What other stops do we have?
Okay, and then we have an 8-foot Borden, which is a lovely flute stop. And then, of course, with the coupling devices, you can make an 8 and 4. I use that combination a lot with some of the other solo reeds and color reeds from the other divisions too.
And it borrows really well. You sometimes when you pull a stop on it itself, it can get a little overwhelming.
Yeah, no, these are
I think they were intending for you to do
really
that.
well. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then the next is the viol, which is a lovely string stop. This one is kind of quiet. And that warms up a bit more even with the tremolant.
Is that quiet enough to even accompany, say, a solo stop in the in the swell or the choir?
Yeah, I can do that against the clarinet or even the oboe. Let's try both.
Standing up here, that works remarkably well. We'll have to see what the microphones out there are.
And I think if we even put it at 4 foot, it wouldn't overpower it too much. So this is the 8 and 4 foot, or the viol coupled to itself at 8 and 4. So you get a lot of flexibility, right?
Okay. We still have one more stop.
One more, and it's the trumpet, which is a nice bright 8-foot reed.
Good. Not overpoweringly loud like you'd expect a big fanfare from the back, but it still gives you that ability to do that.
Right.
Very nice. Well, and then you have just glockenspiel, harp, and chimes from your choir. You can play them all.
So play them all on the antiphonal too.
So you can couple those however you need. So yeah, indeed, everywhere. All right. Well, now let's move over here. I want to come over here so we can look at this side, I want to come look now. The swell and the pedal are over on that side. But let's start with the swell division. Tell me what we've got in the swell.
All right. So the swell has an 8-foot viola da gamba. That is pretty much its primary foundation tone. And
it's stringy, but it's got a lot of diapason sound to it, so it makes a good foundation. I'm curious now just to hear that compared to the choir Geigen over here, because it was such a stringy diapason tone.
All right, so this is the viola da gamba first, echoed by the Geigen on the choir.
They're very similar. The choir is just much bigger. So, okay, so going from there, the viol has
the viol. Yeah, it has a celeste, so the voix celeste 8-foot.
Yeah, lovely.
And then there are the Lieblich gedeckt is both at 8 and 16 foot. So. And interestingly, there's not an independent 4-foot principal or a 4-foot flute, but we do have a Gemshorn, which kind of is a hybrid, so it serves sort of both purposes. Let's hear it just by itself first.
Know what to call that if you just played it by itself without telling me that's a Gemshorn. It's kind of a flute. It's kind of a small principal.
So it becomes the 4-foot flute when you couple it with the Lieblich gedeckt. It can even brighten up the combination of the viol da gamba 8, Lieblich gedeckt 8, and the Gemshorn 4.
How does it sound with just the viol and the Gemshorn? it's because the viol has so much foundation to it. I'm kind of hearing more of a flute sound out of the 4, but yeah, that's interesting.
Right.
You've got all those varieties there.
Right.
Very good. And then we also have another flute in there.
2-foot flageolet. So this, with the Lieblich by itself first. Just the 2-foot.
How's that with a Lieblich Gimp's horn and 2-foot?
Okay.
So you can build up a nice little chorus there out of those. All right. There's one other softer flute though I'm seeing there below the Lieblich.
Yeah. So there's a dolce flute, which is nice. And then it has a Celeste counterpart, the 8-foot flute Celeste. And these are independent. They're not.
Very soft compared to everything else in the division. Right. And 2 more mutations there to go, I assume, with the flutes and the...
So there is a full cornet in the Swell. So this is the 8-foot Lieblich, the Gemshorn 4, the 2 2/3 Nizard, and the Tierce. And I'll just use the 8 and 4-foot flutes from the choir kind of as a little accompaniment for that.
Singing cornet there. Okay. Well, that's all our flues there.
Yep.
Now we have some reeds. First of all, we heard a little bit of it earlier, but the oboe, let's hear that by itself.
Okay.
Gentle oboe. All right, narrow and thin, but it cuts through. Right. Okay, and then there's some more reeds, but tell me, these are set off from the rest. Tell me how these are. There are 2 reeds on the, 3 reeds in the Swell division that can serve just as reeds in the Swell, but then Letourneau has also included some coupling devices again to move them to other divisions. So we have the option of using a Swell reeds to grate coupler, or Swell reeds to choir coupler, or Swell reeds to pedal choir. Again, this is another way of building flexibility. So if you wanted a solo stop like the Cornopian 8-foot as a solo trumpet stop playing against its own 8 and 4-foot flutes in the Swell division, you can do that. So you can those are essentially borrowed, but you don't have to put a knob in every division. You can, and you can pick just the 6
and likewise in the choir or the pedal. Okay. But they also obviously serve as the reed chorus for the Swell division too.
Well, let's hear each of those reeds first, and let's see how they build up together, and then we'll hear them at the chorus.
All right, so here's the double trumpet. This is the Cornopian 8-foot. And the Clarion 4-foot.
Yeah, there's a lot of power in those reeds.
Yep, and then
let's hear them all 3 together.
Full chorus together.
That's big. My guess is they were almost thinking that that's more to go with on top of the great chorus than just the swell chorus itself. There's not really a lot to stand up to on the swell.
So you kind of have to use your imagination sometimes. So building up this full swell compass, you would pretty much use the viol da gamba, the 8-foot Lieblickedeck, 4-foot Gemshorn, and then the oboe, and then full mixture, and then the reeds on top of that. Can we hear just maybe that build up?
And we skipped over the full mixture. It was my fault for forgetting to see that. We have a 5-rank mixture in there, which adds a lot of brightness, but it's still, those reeds are really their own thing up there. And I can see how being able to close them down and add them to maybe the rest of the organ is more their function, either on the choir or as the great. So
okay, so this is the full principal chorus on the great division with the swell ensemble through mixtures and reeds coupled together, and with the box closed, and then I'll gradually open the box. Yep.
what I was expecting to hear. Because the box closes down so well, it's almost like the swell's not there, and it gets buried behind the grate. But when you bring it out, those reeds really stand out on top. So that's a really neat idea they've done. That you can use them as the swell reeds, or you can essentially use them as the greater choir reeds as well. It gives you a lot of flexibility. All right. Well, we have a few stops left here in the pedal. There are some independent pedal stops in this division.
Right.
So tell me what we've got.
Okay, so the contrabass 16-foot is pretty much the foundation for the great principles.
It's a big, bright principle sound. Okay.
And then the 16-foot sous-bass.
And then, of course, we have some borrowed stops, the choir, the Contrageigen and the Swell Lieblich are both available.
That's the Contrageigen, and then the Lieblich.
It gives you a variety of color and volume levels there. And then, but we still have more independent pedal stops.
Right, so the 8-foot principal, again, used with the contrabass, is kind of the foundation for the principal ranks in the great. And then the 4-foot choral bass.
Which itself is independent again.
Yep. So these are the contrabass 16, principal 8, and choral bass 4.
It's a big full sound to be a foundation for this.
Right.
And then our tuba is available at 16 and 8.
Yes.
Now, does it go all the way down to 16?
Yes, it does.
So in the Skinner tradition, our big tuba is our big pedal 16,
right,
all the way down.
Yep.
So that's nice. It's great sound in here. So there's also a pedal divide on the pedal division. Most of them work kind of the same way, but tell me how this one functions. Just as
so this will obviously allow, if you wanted to have an independent bass pedal tone, either as just a pedal tone or moving notes in a bass line, but then also in the low end of the pedal board. But then if you wanted to use the top end of the pedal board as a pedal solo line, you can do that by coupling pretty much any other stop to the pedal at
so
8 or 4.
If you've got, say, your sub bass and your Lieblich or whatever 8-foot on there in the pedal, it's just going to play the bottom octave.
Right.
You get up to C, it stops because there you have to couple something from another manual.
Right. So then, the first C to the top of the pedal board.
And it's any division you couple.
It's any division.
Right,
so if we want an oboe,
yeah.
Sure. So here's an oboe coupled at 8 foot from the swell, and I'm just holding a pedal note.
That's how most of them are. Although usually I've only seen like the great to pedal, but maybe that's how things are now. It'll work with the swell to pedal 4 too as well if you wanted a 4-foot voice. And I imagine you use that every Sunday, right?
Oh,
pedal device. There are pieces that call for it in the repertoire.
It does. I mean, if you improvise,
if you're a good improvisateur, you need one more voice.
One more thing to use. Exactly.
All the controls are pretty simple on this. You do have a piston sequencer, and I've noticed there are very disguised. Page turner can advance
on either side.
I like that. We're seeing this a lot more now.
I didn't think I was going to like that very much. I mean, I guess I'm kind of old school, a little bit of a purist, but I have really come to enjoy having that at my disposal because you just keep hitting it next, and
it seems to be the way a lot of organ builders are going now because organists are finding that easier than trying to sit down in a new organ and figure out where all the pistons are. So, but they've kept it very simple and very standard here, and it's a great looking console. It does move around up here in the chancel, so I assume you can turn it around for concerts and really show it off. So, that's wonderful. Well, it sounds great. I can't wait to hear a little more of it.
Okay.
So getting into the organ involves going out of the church through this door, and the chamber door is right here in front of us. We open it up and we are down underneath the swell right here. You see the relay equipment to the right. And there are immediately some reed pipes. I like how there are tools here ready to go for those quick repairs. You see all the electrical equipment here. Some slider motors for stops above us. Action for the swell. And these reeds are the bottom of the 16-foot trumpet in the swell. They go up into the swell box, but the boots are down here on the floor. So continuing along this way, there's a walkboard which leads us to the front of the chamber. There's the cymbal stern. We didn't get to hear the cymbal stern. But we have pedal pipes. There's our pedal sub-bass and the pedal principal here at the front of the chamber. And there is the expression box for the swell. There's a ladder and a door. Above us is the pedal chest for some of the upper pipes. So up the ladder we go, opening the hatch to the swell, and we can get a look inside. Standing a little closer in, we see the reeds are right here by the door. The trumpet's on one side and the oboe on the other. Now we're looking at the door we just came through and get a better look at all of those reeds, the three ranks in the swell here. These are very nice tall chambers going all the way to the ceiling of the area here and angled back to match the roof line. There's the Liebliche deck on its own chest, the one unit stop in this division. 16-foot continues along the wall. And on this chest we have the rest of our flues. See the mixture in the 2-foot there in the front. Everything's a very large scale in this division. The 4-foot Gims horn is that middle rank there that is very big. It looks more like a flute than a Gims horn. So the strings and the Undamaris, I don't know which is which there. So we step up here, there's a walkboard that allows access to the pipes, but there's another door. It takes us into the choir division. There's our tuba and French horn that are right here next to the wall. The clarinet's right in front there on the side. And the 16-foot Geigen is full length, mitered to fit under the ceiling here. No Haskell pipes. A closer look at that tuba. Now that is the 16-foot. There's our French horn there. But much like the swell, the boots are down on the floor underneath the chamber, and the resonators extend up through the floor into the chamber so they can be expressive. A close-up look at some of the pipework here in the choir. There's the 8-foot flute harmonique. Again, everything is very large-scaled here. The 4-foot is also harmonic. You can see it's behind the clarinet there, and then it suddenly jumps up and goes harmonic here at this point. There are the speakers for the percussion stops, which are digital. A ladder for access on that side. And something that is common in organ chambers is a builder-prepared tuning stick. Stick with a piece of metal attached to the end for helping to reach those far away and hard to reach pipes. Okay, we're coming back down through the swell door that we came out. There's some of the electronics, adjustments for the digital stops. And we're going to go back around. Now in the middle of the room, we have these two large boxes here. Well, that's the wind chest. These boxes is what I'm talking about. These are the swell motors for the choir and the swell. These are the expression motors that move the shades. You can see they work by a pulley system. This is the choir pulley goes that way, and the swell pulley goes this way. Alright, back down on the other side, we see the bottom of the tuba. Just like the swell, they go up into the chamber through the floor. And there's our blower inside that box. We're going out back alongside the tuba. We squeeze through. There's our tremolo. And this takes us out to the facade. And we see we're here at the bottom of the pedal 16-foot contrabass. We saw the top of it from the other side. So if we go around, this is the lowest pipe in the organ. The 16-foot pedal. Mitered to fit under the ceiling. And there's our choir box where we just were. So through here we squeeze in, and then there's a ladder. It goes up, so let's take the ladder. Now we've reached the top, and there's a walkboard, and we see the top of the pedal pipes. That's the choral basin principal there. And here's our facade. So continuing this way, we see the top of the sub bass sticking out, and there is where the great principal comes inside. And behind it are the rest of the great pipes. Principals in front, and the or flute, 4-foot octave, the 2-foot, and the mixture. And then this opening was added to allow sound to get out into the nave of the church. So it's nice that the grate is right here and gets to speak directly out through that opening. A little look around up here at the facade. And then back into the swell. There's the top of the 16-foot contrabass here, we saw down below. See the last one there that's not mitered, just barely clears the ceiling. Okay, back down the ladder, we're on the floor again. And working our way back towards the door. Here's a look at the action box for the swell. Another look at the toolkit and the 16-foot trumpet. And we're back out.
Steve, thanks so much for letting us come in today to Christ Episcopal Church in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's been fantastic to see our first Letourneau.
Wow.
It's not the only Letourneau in town either.
No, there's another one at First Presbyterian Church.
Okay, well, we might just be visiting that one, so stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel and click the bell for notifications. And if you like the job Steve did playing the organ today, please click the thumbs up down below. Down below in the description, you'll find a link to the specification of this organ, to Christ Episcopal's website, as well as information about the Letourneau Organ Company. We're really really happy to be featuring them on this channel for the first time. And remember, for streaming classical organ music, till our next video is out, you can always find that on our 3 stations, organlive.com, Positively Baroque, and The Organ Experience. Thank you again, Steve. This has been a fantastic opportunity to hear this organ.
Thank you. It's been my privilege.
Fantastic job demonstrating, and I can't wait to go hear another Letourneau soon. Until then, I'm Brent Johnson. Thanks for watching.